Hello everyone. A thought has come to my mind recently that there is a huge divide between the sexes. Now, before anyone says, you don't know what you're talking about, let's think about this for a minute. First of all, it's okay in society to make fun of a man. I could get away with making fun of a man for how he looks. For example, his baldness, his height, his weight, and even how much money he makes. I'm not going to, because that's not how you treat people. Apart from the money, these are attributes that a person can't control. Not to say that women don't suffer from these. Some women have baldness issues, some have hormone issues, and some have beards and moustaches. However, as we know from the Oscars, if you comment on a woman losing her hair, oh boy, I hope you dug your grave and are in it already. Going back to men though, why does he have to be 6 foot tall? That is one of the rarest things you can look for. You'll notice that when I do my outro, I don't say you're handsome because you're tall, or you're handsome because you have a 6-pack abs. No, I just say you're handsome. To me, you are handsome, and I don't know what you look like, and I don't care either. I can't see you, obviously, so assuming that you've clicked on my video and watched it, you're a handsome guy. Assuming that you've clicked on my video and watched it to the end, you're a beautiful woman. Or you could be one of those people who are so stunning that you strike me dumb at the end of my own video. Because you not only watch my videos, but you like, comment, share and subscribe. These are the people that stun me into silence at the end of my own video. Believe me, that is not easy to do, and those are just the shallow attributes. What about the fact that we get way more compliments than men overall? Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't give women compliments. However, I am bringing up this point. Men don't really get compliments from either sex. You don't hear men telling each other that they like their suit. You don't hear men saying that they like their new hairdo. Because when people do that, even man to man, people think you're mad. Men don't hug each other in public because it's considered weird. Men don't support each other when they cry because it's considered weird. Why is it wrong? I think people forget this. Both of us have tear ducts, so I think we can both cry. The difference is, it's considered weird when men do it. Just think about this. Telling a male, especially from childhood, to hold in their emotions is going to affect them in a different way, surely. But hey, you gotta keep that stiff upper lip, right? I remember hearing somewhere that a guy was at his dad's funeral. However, he could not bring himself to cry because he'd had it drummed into him that it was a female thing to do, despite us both being able to cry. That is why you have emotionally closed-off men who don't like to share their feelings with anyone. Instead, they sit there and they say, nothing's wrong. I don't care. I'm not gonna cry. It's just my dad, so what? Because what else are they gonna say? But inside, they are full of pain. They want to cry, and they will do it at a time when they think no one is watching them. And this means that as far as they are concerned, they feel that they are alone and they are shouldering everything by themselves. Then, when you have these men that completely repress all their emotions, they go mad. I'm not saying that every single wife-beater was told to hold his emotions, but it wouldn't be a shock to me. I'm not inside their head, so I don't know. But men have to show their feelings somehow. Men die quicker than women. Think about that for a second. And that includes by their own hand. They're probably going to end up at the pub and drink themselves into a stupor. Some might even attempt to drive home. However, they're not going to say that they're upset because their dad died. No. That's girls' behaviour, right? Men don't cry. Men don't even have emotions. They just suck it up and get on with their day. We women, on the other hand, are allowed to wail and scream and cry. We could have full mental breakdowns in the street. People would flock to us and ask if we're okay. But if a man does it, people assume he's mad. This has been annoying me, which I think is obvious if you've watched this far. Now, on the next subject, it is easier for us women to commit crimes than men. Again, I'm not saying that we women should test this out. But let me give you an example. There was a woman that was spoken about on YouTube. If you watch a lot of commentary channels, you'll have heard of this woman, but I don't want to put her name in it just in case she decides to sue me. She left her child at home while he was asleep and then decided to go and party in a complete other state. He woke up and didn't see her, and she claims that she went shopping for 1 second to go and get laundry detergent. But the police didn't believe her because the detergent was half empty. Now, I don't think we would have even heard about this case, but the child woke up while she was partying in another state and started asking for his mum, and the neighbours heard him and called the police. However, if a father ups and leaves his family and goes out to get milk, he's going to be shunned forever. We give men so much flack for doing that, and yes, this woman did get roasted on the internet, but it didn't seem to do anything to her, as not only did she get away with it legally, but she put her comment and her apology behind a paywall. So you had to have an OnlyFans account to pay for it to see what she had to say. And then she made another video on TikTok with a Tekashi 6ix9ine song. The joke is that she is still around. Yes, she ended up on the news and she got criticised for what she did, but she's still back and she still has the following. Why is it okay for a man to walk off and permanently buy milk and we criticise them, but when she did it, she got a metaphorical slap on the wrist? Granted, we are normally talking about the fact that men walk out and never come back. And yeah, she did come back, but it's still child neglect. And in my opinion, if you neglect a child, it is wrong. We hate men for abandoning their families. They walked away from those families and never turned back. Okay, that's wrong. But if a woman does the same thing, we start making excuses. Keep in mind, I'm a woman, but in my opinion, I don't think we need as many excuses as we get. The only time we should have excuses is when it comes to things that we can't control, like our hormones. For example, in this country, PMS was used to explain a crime. A woman ended her mum and claimed PMS as the cause of her actions. Link in the description. If only men could say the same for things like steroid abuse. So, if my ovaries are playing up, and let's just say my hypothetical husband comes to me and says that he's cheated on me and I'm making dinner, if I, in a jealous rage, go and bash him over the head, apparently I can claim that it was my ovaries' fault, not mine. I would say be very careful using this as a defence, because then people will turn around and say that you are not in control of yourself when you're hormonal. I'll admit to being ratty, but not murderous. Also, what about teenagers who are full of hormones, probably more than us women at times? If they commit a crime that is hormonally charged, do they go free? Again, I'm not condoning this, but it's something that happens. Also, I saw a case regarding crimes against children where a woman got a lesser sentence than a man. They were both committing podiatry against children. They were both teachers, but one is female and got less years. She also was appealing to the eyes, kinda, where the guy wasn't as much. She got 13 years and he got 16. She was the ringleader, but she got less time. They were both in it together, but you know, in my opinion, and funnily enough in my family's opinion, because I was talking to them about it the other day, they should have life. Both of them. I know that it's hard to see women as anything but the caregiver. No one wants to think of a woman like that, especially when it comes to children. But when they do, you need to come down especially hard. This woman was a teacher, and so was her husband, and so they had complete control over the children. The one piece of recent justice was the Johnny Depp case. If women know they're going to have it easier in court, well, slap on your makeup, ladies, widen those eyes and look really cute. And make sure to say that you didn't mean to do it and that you will never do it again. Make sure to look so cute that you sway the judge. That way you'll get less years than your male counterpart. But this woman got away with it because she's kinda good looking. If she looked like Shrek's aunt from down the road, we all know that this woman would have got heavy sentencing and been called everything under the sun. They'd label her an evil podiatrist and put her on a registry. As we can see, people, good looks don't mean everything. Look at Ted Bundy. He was considered a heartthrob to the majority of my nan's generation, and he knew that, and he used it to get the women that he wanted, acting like an injured puppy, only to do unspeakable things. This favouritism, due to looks, needs to end. Anyway, just to recap, it is apparently okay to get away with making fun of men for things. Also, to demand things from them, but get annoyed when we're asked this same thing. How dare you talk about a strong woman in that way? What are you thinking? If you do, you're sexist. What is wrong with you? But if you ask a man about his height or something he finds awkward, he has to suck it up and answer it. And if you're making fun of a man because of his belly, that's probably because the belly is big due to stress. Maybe try to be a positive influence. It might help. On that note, regarding the belly though, if you make fun of a woman for the size of her stomach, that's wrong. Yes, I know that men find it harder to gain weight than women, but that will make it all the more awkward. If they've got to the point where they're fat, that's taken a long time, and during that time they may have fixed it, but they haven't. Now it's going to be hard to lose that weight. We don't need to add to the stress by making fun of them. Just be encouraging and help him. If I had a husband and I was in charge of things and I noticed that my husband was gaining weight, rather than telling him everything he's doing wrong, I can either suggest that we do exercises together, which will not make him feel that he's being targeted, or when I do shopping, buy the things that are healthy. That will help him rather than just saying, you've got fat. Because that ain't going to help anyone. He'll just pop off down the pub and complain that I'm criticising his looks again. Drink the beer that's got the hops that will make that belly bigger, and then come home and complain that I don't think he's handsome anymore and probably ask for a divorce. On a funny note to end this, I saw this thing on YouTube that was from Tinder. This woman was on there and she asked this man how tall he was and he told her. Then he asked how much she weighed. She blocked him. How can you ask one thing that you know is awkward and difficult for him to answer and that he finds uncomfortable to talk about, but then when he asks you a question that causes the same amount of awkwardness, you block him? That doesn't make sense to me, and I don't like that. Also, when it comes to things that are just socially considered unacceptable, it shouldn't matter. If a man wants to open a sewing shop and sit there sewing blankets and knitting blankets and making tops for everyone, he should be able to because he's a human being. But anyway, this is all I want to say on this subject for this week. If you enjoy this and you're here at the end, then listen closely because I have something important to tell you. You're handsome and you're beautiful and you... Well, I'm speechless. I'll let you know next time I see you. Over to the pets. Hello all, this is Sylvie. If you liked what you saw, then subscribe for more.
Hey everyone, my name's Bonjo. If you enjoyed yourself, then give it a thumbs up and share it with all your friends.
Hi everybody, I'm Jack, and if you had fun, then comment down below and let my mum know if you know any other languages besides English.